Hello everybody, welcome back to Needle Workshop. My name is Emily and today we'll be making Princess Zelda's loose pink top from the video game Ocarina of Time. As always, the pattern for this costume is available on our Etsy store, which you'll find the link for in the description box below. We'll be back next week with one more video tutorial for Zelda's costume, so make sure to stay tuned in for that. Otherwise, without any further ado, let's get started. Before getting into the tutorial, please take note of the following information. If you would like some clarity on some of the terms used in this tutorial, you can find all the definitions in the instruction manual provided with the pattern. In the same instruction manual, you'll also find more info on how to properly take your measurements and how to tweak the pattern for a better fit for you. Additionally, you'll find an array of useful information, such as fabric and material suggestions, along with all the information on the tools used in this tutorial. Also, keep in mind that it is essential to make a mock-up in muslin or cheap fabric before making the costume in your real fabric. Not only does this allow you to ensure the fit is right for you, it will also allow you to make any adjustments directly onto the garment. Also important to keep in mind is that all your seam allowances are 1 centimeter wide. Unless specified otherwise, all pieces are sewn together 1 centimeter from the edge. Now, let's get started. Let's start by looking at the pieces we'll be needing to cut for this next part. You'll be needing 1 Velcro extension fully interfaced, 1 pair of the hip lining, and 1 front hip. All of these pattern pieces are included in the PDF file. Carefully pin the tuck pleats in place on the front hip and stay stitch them into place. Cut out the excess fabric from the tuck pleats. Take your Velcro extension, fold it onto itself right side to right side along the longest length. Sew it together at both ends. Turn the piece inside out and iron it flat. Right side to right side, align the edges of the extension to the edges of the front hip piece, making sure to match the tuck pleats with their respective notches. Your extension should be placed between the notches that indicate its placement on your pattern piece. Sew together 7 millimeters from the edge. Sew the lining pieces together, right side to right side, at the center back. Iron your seam allowance open. Align the lining and the front hip pieces together, right side to right side, and leave a 5 centimeter opening at the top towards the center. Make sure to align your notches with your tuck pleats. Sew into place. Cut out the excess fabric at each corner. Cut out excess seam allowance at the sides of the hip piece. Cut little notches into your concave area at the top of the piece. Turn your piece inside out and push the corners out carefully, making sure not to poke through your seams. Iron your seams flat and fold the open seam allowance towards the inside. Top stitch all around your hip piece. Place the male side of the Velcro along the Velcro extension. Make sure the Velcro is placed on the same side as the hip piece and not that of the hip lining. Sew into place with a top stitch. And with that, the hip attachment is done and we can move on to the bodice. Next, we'll need the following pieces. 1 pair of the back bodice, 1 front bodice, 1 waistband fully interfaced, 1 pair of the back facing fully interfaced, and 1 front facing fully interfaced. Pin the tuck pleats in place on the front bodice and stitch in place. Before proceeding, you'll need to overlock the following areas: the side seams of the front bodice, one of the longer sides of the waistband, and the side and back seams of the back bodice pieces. Sew the front to the back bodice pieces together at the side seams only, right side to right side. Iron the seam allowance open. Gather the hem of the bodice so the side seams and the front notch matches the notch on the waistband. Right side to right side, pin the side of the waistband with no overlock to the hem of the shirt, making sure to align all your notches and seams. Sew into place with a straight stitch. Prepare the waistband by folding it in half, wrong side to wrong side, and ironing it into place. Sew on the female Velcro on both sides of the waistband, just under the fold 2 centimeters away from the center back. By sewing the Velcro now, there won't be any stitches showing through your waistband. Sew the zipper in place by placing it to the center back edge. You'll need to use an open end zipper and place the retainer box of the zipper to the fold of the waistband. Sew it in place with a straight stitch 2 millimeters away from the zipper teeth. An easy way to sew a zipper is to start with a regular foot and stay stitch your zipper into place. Once your zipper is secure, switch to a zipper foot and sew the appropriate distance away from the zipper teeth. Sew the front facing to the back facings along the side seam, right side to right side. Iron the seam allowance open. Overlock the hem of the facing. Right side to right side, sew the facing to the bodice between the 2 back shoulder notches, making sure to properly align your armhole notches and seams and your front tucks with the respective notches. Cut excess seam allowance from the corners. Cut notches into your armhole every 1 centimeter or so. Stitch the seam allowance of the armhole to the facing 1 to 2 millimeters from the seam. This is called an understitch. Sew the facing at the center back to the zipper and at the shoulders. Cut off the excess zipper if you have some like me, and remove excess zipper teeth using pliers. Once you're done, cut all excess seam allowance at the corners before turning your facing inside out and ironing it flat. Fold the waistband right side to right side and sew at the center back to the zipper. Turn inside out. Iron the seam allowance of the waistband and bodices towards the waistband. Fold the waistband back wrong side to wrong side and pin it in place. Use a stitch in the ditch to close your waistband and hide your seam allowance. Stitch your facing to your bodice using a stitch in the ditch at the side seam. Sew the male side of the snaps to all top corners, both at the front and at the back. The female side of the snap is applied to the dress. For the belt loops, I would refer you to the video tutorial on Link's tunic. The link will be in the description box below along with the timestamp. And with that, we are done with today's tutorial. I really hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, please make sure to leave them in the comment box below. If you like this kind of content, then make sure to give it a big thumbs up and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell for more cosplay related content. If you'd like to know more about any upcoming projects, feel free to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And until next time, good luck with your projects, guys. Goodbye.